Feel safe, feel secure. ATA Security.
Mick Lally was educated in UCG, and in 1975, together with Gary Hines and Mary Mullen, he founded Galway's Druid Theatre. His television career wide and varied, but it started with Gabriel Byrne in Bracken. Mick Lally.
Tá go bai, agus tá fáitirmh ag an teach. Agus sé le an pí atá sin agat fu me mogad aideachas nuair a bhí me mogan na fástaí í Oscail na Gaillimhe. An o'i revision nuair a bhí me bug ag baile hí dúr bhicéadaí chun do bhío. Bhí táigeáil túiche agam. An muich ó bhí me an óg a gobar le methar agus mo bháthar muich na páircinní agus na gardaí agus an muich na snéimhtí bailús ús cuirí agus peithí. Baint móna nuair bhí me beag níos láidir agus scarú móna agus a gobar leis an tamar fad go minic. Agus ag an am céanaí ag an Munscoil, ag tríon lár Dr. Dúr Bhicéadaí. Agus bhíon tá arman sin tá me capú in eala go raibh an múnseoir a bhí agam seo sa bhfuil múil rúnaí go dtíon te gráster. Has sé blian amháin a déanú drámaí gearlinn leis na páistí sa scoil na bochailí agus na cailíní. Mar thart ar nám sin sna dearú na gaogadaí tháinig béhéin agus cúpla dealaí le chéalaí Dúr Bhicéadaí agus thosaigh siad féile drámaíochta i Nghaeilge. Agus den ngeallar sin bhí sé héin na cúpla le chuteach drámaí ó Munscoil mar bhí rinán le haid bunscoilní, manscoilní, cearscoilní, daoine fásta. Agus leannach an sé seo ar feadh timplas de lán ó beag na caiiciiste me capú. Agus bhíoh drámaí tíocht as fud connacht ar fad beagnach. Is go bhfuil bliana amháin bhí féile connacht an. As bhí drámaí an as Rosmuc, as Carna, as Garrua, an Spidéal, Galí Sílam, agus go leoráitichaí. Sin manscoilní tíocht as Galí, as Slígeach, áitichaí, bunscoilní, as bhí tear ceann. Agus stoigh gur bhúscailte sin mo chud spéis i gcúrsaí eisteireachta. Ní rud strántéireach a bhí an níos mó. Is go maith leis sin hartar na blianta sin bhí mé an tócaí leis an radio. Agus chuile ihe jedóní bhí dráma ar an radio éireann. Ceann na drámaí clásica go leor acu, The Play by the Western World, The Plough and the Stars, Wood the Whispering, The King of Fridays Men. Go leor na drámaí sin agus bhín tócaí leofa, géisteach leofa. Aní sin go mórliam. So sin na níos sin, nuair bhí mé rééis am Munscoil dearlam scoilíocht meáideachas sáil in Ngálaí. Now, mar go raibh bhí me hana ar máthair ahar mo bháthar, bhí sé tréis gáil go America ar an blianta revision. Agus so mar go thug sé an cúnú leis an aideachas ní bheith sé do ghustal aganí é dhéanam an ní rá an cinál sin airigid háartach. Fuair me cúnú le aideachas sáil ó me hana ar tá me gin. Agus so chaith me chuig bliana scoil cóine in Ngálaí, cláistúir na Gaillimhe. Agus dhéanam go leor drámaí sin freisin in Nghaeilge. Ag cépa cé fáid hén réchuin níor híú ríbar an bhehanú, agus bhíon có héadúr na stói, agus có holc na rá deis an bheithas na drámi seo I bhíidir genus sa Scalcónia. Mar blianta ní sin nuair has bhí plé le drámiart sa daimhhearc. Bhí chuid go na múntear I bheagam, chuid go na sagart I bheagam gláistúire, I tí agam rá céim fáin na nearan tú eisteartlín ar bhí tú gláistúire. Agus tear leofa gcónaí mar dar déine chuirse bheith ceistear mé dhéanú, níor híú ar mé dhéanú, rud a bhí fír. Mar bhí an táran mar sin ar éon chuí nuair an tréis cláistúire ágáil chun halsgad na gaiileh agus bhí mé plé aiste go leor le pís mai plé le dornáíocht an sin. Bhí club mai dornáíochta san ollscoil. Agus bhí bainte go le sinna fá timplas 3 bliana. So má chapsín ar an globar fá gá blion. Agus an sin fuair mé post bhí mé tréis an BA I dhéanú 1969 doí nó mar sin. Agus ag ná bhí múntear I meán oideachas, sta meánscoilní agus sta gearscoilní. Bhí an gantabas múntear I an sta bliantí sin. Agus fuair mé post go déanstró sa gearscoil I dúin. I múnú gailge agus stair. Agus bhí múntear sin colm o Donachú. Agus bhí bainte sin leis an gomandrámiarta in ollscoil na Gaillimhe. Agus sa dtíir sin me spéise go mén rudíanú leis an gomandrámiarta sa dús baithid gomach. So has been a couple of leis an gomandrámiarta an blion Jerry Ramel san ollscoil an HDV nó an ár chestas oideachas ar siúlagam. Agus grú mé cúpla bun mar eisteras fearras ó dí mar sin. Sin has mé dús me le hen go an tíl as an taimhhearc. Sa fuair mé páirtin sin agus dréir a chéala bhí mé bagna chuile gráma a bhí arsúlinn san daimhhearc. Agus bhí mé múnú I dúm ag an am céalaí. Agus fáil siab isteach sa maithe scalaí go túm le colm Donachú agus Tomás Aráine, ledís bhí tarsúda na gcónaí gan mar, bhí mis mo chónaí an gáilí. Agus an sin has mé sin an dráma leis de daltaí scoile sa gearscoil I Gaeilge, mar baxtam gur bailach maiche le teangaí a bhúnú. Agus go mid siad héin gníomhach srunda bhí arsúla acu. Agus bhaine dís an, sprí go Joas agus an táú agus ceann rudí bhí anhaith an Jerry me héin agus na gastúrs bhí agam na daltaí bhí agam. Jerry me John Warlin a chéalaí. Agus fuair me John Adna ar a chéalaí. Agus sugaí na hain Jackratí agam leofa maidir le smacht nó éad mar sin mar bhí bacárdí muid bagna, mar bhí muid gimot chun minic. In éondí go háití go féiltí éagsúlar fud na Gaillimhe agus níos fuidir freisin. Curigás bheith féile drámiíocht tarsúil sa daimhhearc an gáilí bheith an cearscoil chuirtear sin le beidir amadí gáin ó trí grámaí. Feisceola níor a bheith an túfasta fagan istí le feisceola níor. Slógu I gcunacht agus fiúan críomh na héir nó dí mar sin. So bhí sé searsúil an tamar fad. Agus an sin dréir a chéalaí bhí mé bliana bháin agus mé smíú rinn tairí go minic chuchan go London Sasaní, mar chu bhí me gal go Sasaní mar bhí me is na seacadí a gobar ar abricha tóigáil an sin rinn tairí le bheith pín sa bóca go nuair dhiochan bhhailí ar eiste an ollscoil san Ivrú. Agus rinne mé blian a gá freisin nuair bhí mé múnteacht in gobar nabheal. Agus 1975 bhí mé brethar gáil nun, s go gurí bhaithe. Agus bhí mé tí sa teachósta se an gáilí do selar bar, sáin bhí muid na fád scat agin gáil craicáiltí le na scatí. Agus tháinig bert fean óg, agam bert bháin óg, agus ní rainn mé iad, agus thuirtí dtíad héin nenagam, Gary Hines agus Marie Mullen, na bhí na cáil aga marú, ach ní ra éon na súla aga marú. As bhí ar a caint fí go ar brathir séasúr drámiíochta séasúr drámiíochta chur siúil. Lein na tarasóirí an saoir sin an gáilí, rud a hárlaíoch go minic an gáilí san na bliantí sin. Agus go ar a brathir de Playboy the Western World dhéanú, agus the Love the Cast Maguire dhéanú le Brian Friel, agus a main tuidnach a bheith páirteach an agus Christy Mann dhéanú. So sínam gur rinne mé Magdeburger dus mé cintí go mé plé leis. So has muid agus muid drúid agus rihinn tairí sin bhí héananas maríos garí caint faoi an tear fad, agus bhí cuasaí cultúra na Gaillimhe agus síl cultúra na Gaillimhe, agus thugtar muid go dhéanana muidírat drúid a chuine le gimacht. As the kinal margu vian begnach ken your chormich fokli riwer. Na mar vi Garius Marie could wat ni so na mission beter hot no shak gevlenti ni so na mission vidder tier ikrichnu sodalskal. Kegram mich hasen tamschen harter she bliene. So margu kinal vian kenner koru fokli mar jarum. Na era assen job muncher te viagam. Agus na toroch Gary Nummery job big as kun yen majira trud and trud vi tasir in tauri a chuidir shule gahan givri agus gevekmskeer de harloch so sinner in much agus new much bas gnokers ke gnamich gar Michael Coopboute agus ta shan fos agus steik me shan gejo so sinne could wekmskeer skudi shari.
I'm Canadian and am very, very, very lacking in knowledge of the Gaelic language. As beautiful as that sounded, I have to say, it really does, and it flows. It was delicious.
You're not alone there.
It was delicious to listen to, but I understand very, 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 very tiny little bit of it.
Well, roughly in summation, I was giving a brief outline of my background, family background in the mountains of Tormacady in County Mayo.
Lovely.
How I managed to get a secondary education in Galway via the help of my grandfather who had gone to America. He helped us out because we wouldn't have been able to afford it ourselves. Do this small mountain environment, just no way. Grounding in primary school, how we were lucky to have a teacher who did quite a number of plays with us as youngsters.
I see, that's good, isn't it?
This was your introduction
This was
to
entering,
acting.
yeah, to the
This
whole,
lit
yeah.
the spark, as it were.
So that the whole idea of acting was never alien to me.
Yeah.
On Sunday nights, listening to radio plays on Radio Air was a big deal for me. I used to love listening to them as a youngster when I was 10, 11, 12 years of age. And then by degrees, then I didn't do anything. When I went to boarding school in Galway, I stopped and wondered because they used to do a lot of plays there in Irish, through Irish. But they never asked me to be in any of them.
Oh.
And I used to resent that.
I should think so.
And also, you see, you didn't, in those days, you wouldn't have the gumption to go up and say to a priest, excuse me, I'm better than he is. Why can't I be in your play? He's making a hames of that part.
Modest.
You just couldn't do that, you know. And the irony of it was, years later, when I was working with there's an Irish language theatre in Galway called the Tyviark. The priests there from the school used to come to see me in some of the plays, and just say to me, "Why did you never do any plays with us in St Mary's when you were in there?" I said, "Because you never bloody well asked me."
Well, there you go.
And was there a reason why you weren't asked?
Well, I suspect, you see, that there was a very simplistic logic to it, actually. That I think I noticed that most of the time, the lads they used in the plays were generally the brightest in the class. So I reckon that I figured that the thinking was at least to be able to learn the lines.
I see. Right.
To be able to memorise them.
You graduated from UCG.
And then I went on to UCG.
Yeah. So you're obviously one of the sharper knives in the drawer.
Yes, I went on to. I managed to get enough honours as it was that time in the Leaving Cert to get automatically get the matriculation.
Yes.
So I went on to UCG, did a degree in arts, did a BA in history and Irish. And then I got a job teaching Irish in the vocational school in Tuam, 1969.
Did you like teaching?
I did, actually. I really enjoyed teaching. I got into it fairly quickly. And once when I was at it, I was trying to devise methods of doing it my own way. Because I found the first year I was doing it, this year I was doing the HDV, and I was teaching the way I'd been taught myself, you know, kind of like 10 or 15 years prior to that. And I was saying to myself, this can't be right. There must be another way of doing it. And so I started to experiment with doing plays with them again as an Irish, because I was teaching Irish.
Yeah.
And I experimented with the idea of using how to use the language, having fun with the language, and making it interesting for them.
Fun is the word, is it?
Fun is crucial.
Making it fun.
And so I think I managed to achieve some of that. And I wouldn't say that was completely successful, because it was still sort of a work in progress, so to speak, or a thinking in progress by the time I gave up the teaching. But there's a lot of controversy lately about the whole thing of education and teaching, particularly I think language teaching. There's been a lot of talk about it, and I've been saying this for years and years and years, not very publicly because nobody will listen to me. That I think the real problem with teaching methods nowadays lies with the universities, and that most teachers, they do a degree in the arts and commerce, science or whatever, and they do the H-dip. Now, unless the H-dip changed from my time doing it, and I don't think it changed very much, the H-dip is a whole series of various ologies and theories. But nobody tells you how to actually teach. Teaching is like carpentry or plumbing. It's a craft, and you need to learn how to do it. Now, doing the theory of it won't teach you how to do it. And then later on, during the whole period of my dealings with my own children in second level education, and observing the way they were being taught, I realised that teaching methods basically haven't changed in Ireland the last 40 years. They were being taught the way I was being taught way back in the 60s.
Yes.
And it doesn't fit the model.
And it's not the teacher's fault.
No.
It's the trainers, for the guys who are supposed to be training them, it's their fault.
Yes.
And a method needs to be devised to train teachers properly, because, especially as I say, in language teaching, and it is available to us. Because, for example, Gael Lynn and other bodies run courses, month courses in Irish language. Okay, granted the people that get on these courses are very interested in learning it and they're motivated. But I think it should be possible to motivate youngsters as well. And they come out being able to fairly conversant in the language within 4 or 5 weeks. Now, these people who do these courses must know a way of teaching a language that is fairly effective. Yes. And it seems tragic that their expertise is not employed at second level education in particular.
Yeah,
It's passionate with you.
So I don't know, this is probably all going to off the beaten track for me.
No, this is fantastic. But this is you. This is the very essence of you.
Yeah.
And this is what our show is about. We'll move on, say, to you're as an actor now. Okay, you're very, very highly regarded here in Ireland.
Well, yeah.
Have you had a role or a play or a part in a play that sums you up?
I don't know, to tell the truth, if you come across roles that actually sum you up or not. Because most roles you get to play would be fairly distinct from, or separate, or different from the way you are yourself. But then, but there's one thing about it that you find a relish, you find an enjoyment in doing it.
involving yourself into the character.
Getting yourself into the character of all of that. And over the years I've played many different characters. One of my favourites would have to be, I think, Old Mahon in the Playboy The Western World. Initially, in the early years of Trude, I played Christy, the Playboy, and then as later on we did a production of it in the early 80s, which toured extensively to America and Australia and England and Scotland. And I played Old Mahon in that, Christy's father, the man that Christy thinks he has killed.
Yes.
And he comes back. It was a great part to do and very enjoyable, and it was very, quite violent actually.
You get your teeth into it and
Yeah.
really enjoy it.
Because there was a great fight scene towards the end of it, and which myself and Melissa Stafford, who's playing Christy, mainly devised ourselves. And because we did it initially in Druid in Galway, which is a very small theatre, it necessitated me hitting that man, Melissa, with a stick across the back.
Ooh.
Because you couldn't pad him.
No.
Because he's after coming in from winning all these prizes in the races that goes on in the play. And all he's on him was a tight-fitting jockey's shirt. And I come in and I leathered the hell out of him. And he used to have marks all over his body, but it never hurt him. Because with the adrenaline going so much, he never felt any injuries or felt sore.
And you're still friends?
We're still the best of mates. Yeah.
True friendship.
Oh, yeah. And it was really, it was quite a vicious fight.
If you had to choose between your acting in relation to stage, film, which would you, and television obviously,
Of course, yeah.
which would be you? Which
I always
medium
preferred,
you prefer?
I think I always preferred stage acting.
You're a stage
I don't know, yeah, I always preferred it. Now, the unfortunate thing is it doesn't pay that well. There's always a drawback. There's always a rub.
The dreaded lucre.
Yes. So the happy way to do it is if you can combine both. Now, over a good part of my life, I have managed to combine both, especially managed to combine a stage life with a TV life over the years of Glenroe and all that. But generally speaking, I always preferred, I think, the stage aspect of it, because it was live. You had the the proximity of an audience. You had, even in their silences, you can sense them, how they're responding to you. And there was always, I don't know what it is, a buzz, for want of a better word, about that, and an excitement, and of course a challenge that you have to go on and do it every night.
With
Every night.
television, is there ever the fear of being typecast? As in Miley
There is.
from Glenroe?
There is, because it is very easy when you're seen regularly in a part, in one single part, for over a period of years, for the public to see you as nothing else.
Exactly. How do you cope with that?
Well, actually, I was, in many respects, I've been lucky enough from that point of view. Mainly from the point of view, because when Glenroe was in full flight in the early and mid-80s, when I was free from Glenroe in the summer months, I used to be, nearly generally speaking, down in Galway with Druid. And whatever shows we did generally went on fairly extensive tours up and down the country. So that quite a vast swathe of people who were used to seeing me as Miley on TV also began to see me as something other than
Very
that
good, yeah.
in stage performances. So that in the popular imagination in many parts of the country, the typecasting didn't take place as much as it might otherwise have taken. Also, in those years, I did quite a number of stage work in Dublin, in the Gaiety, in various plays by John B. Keane and some plays in the Abbey. So that many people were aware of the stage side of Mick Lally, that it wasn't just Miley. Now, of course, with that much said, there's always a swathe of people who'll see you as nothing other than, nothing but Miley. That's to be expected, I suppose. You put up with it, it can be very irritating at times. Because mainly I find it irritating because I can't get my head around people being so, what's the word I'm looking for?
Narrow-minded.
No, it's not being so obsequious, being so in awe of fame. I can't understand that immaturity in grown-up people. That think that have more savvy, more cop on. Fame, Jesus, let's go to hell.
You're a family man.
Yes.
How do you fit? How do you fit being a family man and actually living in Dublin and the Druid Theatre in Galway?
All this
and
wandering.
all your wandering around.
Well, I always made a point, in so much as I possibly could, especially when the children were small, of getting back home from no matter where I was for at least the Sunday.
Yeah.
Because generally speaking, in our life, Sundays are always free. We don't play.
Except when we invade your.
If we're on stage, we don't, generally speaking, don't play on a Sunday night. So I always made a point of getting back either the Saturday night after the show, or early Sunday morning by bus or by train, and go down to the next venue on the Monday.
Super.
And also in in the early years when they were smaller, when I began working with Druid in the early 80s, and the children were quite small. We used to move down, the whole lot of us, Peggy, myself, and the three children, and rent a flat or a house or whatever in Galway. And even for a while, they used to go to school there in maybe before the school broke up, or maybe when it restarted back in September. They went to the Jesuit for a while, in the Scoil Long Gaeilge that's there in the primary school in the Jesuits in Galway. So that no matter what, all my coming and going, I always went out of my way, made sure to make a sustainable contact with them.
Feel safe, feel secure. ATA Security. Feel safe, feel secure. ATA secured. Feel safe, feel secure. ATA secured.